Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Karen Kozia Phillips. C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, 3 houses were gutted in a fire in Diego Martin on Sunday afternoon. At around 2:30 p.m. on Sunday, residents of Teak Trace River Estate were alerted to a fire at a wooden home on the street. Residents attempted to salvage what they could as the fire quickly spread to 2 other homes. Despite a response from the Four Roads Fire Station, the homes were completely destroyed.
The first thing I can do is see the house burning down, and I went to save the 2 old people. By the time I reached, the 2 grandsons were bringing she down already.
C News is yet to learn about the estimated damages following the fire. Fire officers are investigating the cause of the blaze, but are working on the theory that the fire may have been maliciously lit. It was another bloody weekend as 3 people were killed in separate shooting incidents on Sunday. The first incident took place at around 2 a.m. along the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway in San Juan. According to reports, 26-year-old Danmati Bechan and her boyfriend, 28-year-old Mahez Lachman, were returning to their El Socorro home from a night out when a vehicle opened fire on their car, wounding both Bechan and Lachman. It has been suggested the shooting may have been sparked by road rage. As it was said, Lachman gave their attacker a bad drive moments before the shooting. The couple were rushed to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex, but the woman succumbed to her injuries. And later in Marabella, Damian Simmons was gunned down. Simmons, also known as Governor Gems, was shot dead on St. James Street off Batu Avenue at around noon on Sunday. Sunday was Simmons' 31st birthday. And also in some crime news later on Sunday, Anthony Sami was shot dead in San Juan. According to reports, at around 2:30 p.m., Sami was at his Bugmalatris apartment in the company of a woman when 3 men ran into the building. They shot Sami as he attempted to avoid them. He ran a short distance and collapsed. He died at the scene. Police believe this murder was drug-related. And police are questioning a man in relation to the death of Rachelle Ramkisoon. 16-year-old Ramkisoon was found dead in a forested area of Balata Trace in San Raphael on Friday evening. This several hours after she reportedly waited on a taxi to take her to school after missing a bus, which would have carried her to classes at Northeastern College. Her relatives are adamant that she should not have taken a ride with a stranger. Police took the man in for questioning sometime over the weekend. The cause of Rachelle Ramkisoon's death is still to be determined, but a post-mortem on the teenager's body is expected to be conducted today at the Forensic Science Center. On Saturday, Member of Parliament for Lahokata Talpara Maxi Kafi visited the family. He also spoke with taxi drivers concerning traveling arrangements for school children. To other news now, will a U.S. $200 million investment turn around the energy sector? Well, this is the hope as the Juniper platform was celebrated at Labidco Industrial Estate on Sunday. Construction of the platform began in 2014, and it is expected to contribute some 500 million scuffs of gas to the oil gas industry. The Minister of Finance looked optimistically to the potential impact of the platform.
Impacts on the entire value chain and the services sector. I want to say today, on behalf of the government, we are committed to working with the upstream to create a viable and sustainable domestic energy sector for all participants. We will be continuing our engagement with the sector over the coming weeks to create an environment for upstream investments that works in everyone's interests.
The minister said there would soon be more adjustments made by the government to bolster the industry.
Be moving very swiftly in the first quarter of 2017 to seek to finalize discussions with all the players towards a new oil and gas fiscal regime so you can do the exploration and bring fields into production. We'll also be moving swiftly to finalize the gas supply contracts.
And one of those projects coming into focus is the Angeline project.
So in the next 3 months, I want to give you the assurance that the team at the Ministry of Finance, together with the experts we have, the experts who are helping us with the gas master plan, the team headed by former Minister of Finance Wendell Motley, and various international experts. We've engaged international experts to help us as well, because we need to get this show on the road.
You're watching the CNews Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at CNews Live. Staying with energy news, BPTT President Norman Christie is eager for the changes suggested by the acting Minister of Energy. He said these adjustments are much needed.
I was delighted to hear the affirmation from the minister, but he said something else that's important, and that is we can have a project, but we also have to stay competitive. So the reason I can't give you any ironclad commitments around where work will be done is because, of course, there are competitive negotiations which have to be concluded. And if they're competitive, then we will obviously build where things are competitive. So that still has to be answered. But it's really a big step forward.
And while Mr. Christie shares the optimism of the Minister of Finance over the Juniper project, he said it's difficult to gauge its impact.
That's a very complicated question about net production because we have declines in the existing field. As the minister said, Juniper will bring over 500 million scuffs a day of gas to the market. What we have to do is to figure out what's happening with decline in order to give you the net impact. So once we get there with Juniper, I'll be able to give you a better answer because we'll know what the decline has been that Juniper is counteracting.
The sixth platform built by BPTT in our shores is seen by many as the shot in the arm needed for the struggling energy sector. And the BPTT president believes Juniper platform will indeed shake up the sector.
When you look at this, it's the largest facility we will have offshore when it ends up offshore for us, and over 550 million scuffs a day of gas will be brought to the country for use by petrochemical plants at Point Lisas and by Atlantic. So this is a truly momentous occasion.
Well, economist Subhash Ramkalawan admits it will take a while for the country to see a benefit from the recent increases in oil prices. Recent measures implemented by OPEC have seen the oil price rise over $50 a barrel. But the economist says don't expect an immediate upturn.
Well, even with the increase in the oil prices, let us presume that they stay at the mid-50, mid-60 area. That still in and of itself will not close the deficit. Let us put it this way, the 800-pound gorilla in the room is a gap that has presented itself because of a significant decline in revenue from the oil sector.
Mr. Ramkalawan says while the current state of the economy has raised the question of diversification, he says in the short term, focus on the energy sector would remain more profitable than shifting focus.
Diversification, which is going downstream in the energy sector, making best use of our limited gas and getting the highest value added. Some of that can be achieved in a much shorter period. I'm talking about 4 or 5 years or so, as opposed to diversification. Really, it is a 15, 20-year plan because it's like bamboo shoots. It takes a long time to come out of the ground and then you will see it.
There's growing concern at the Besson Street Police Station over delayed inspections of cars involved in vehicular accidents. CNews was told licensing officers have reportedly been expressing reluctance to visit the area to inspect vehicles citing safety concerns. Now, this has caused many investigations into accidents to be delayed and also extend the wait of those hoping to retrieve their vehicles. CNews was told by a source that in some cases, the police have had to incur the cost of hiring a tow truck to transport the vehicles to the licensing office for inspection. This wreck outside the station was said to be involved in the accident which claimed the life of Brian Thomas on December 18th. Due to this issue, the vehicle remains outside the station almost 1 month later. CNews attempted to contact the Transport Commissioner for a comment on the issue, but efforts were futile. We then contacted Minister of Transport Rohan Sinanan about the issue, and while he said he was unaware of any such issue, he would contact the licensing division to ensure it would be resolved quickly. In some carnival news now, veteran Ricky Jai and Orlando Octave are among the 33 artists who have been selected for the semi-final round of this year's Pick 2 Chutney Soca Monarch. From the semis, 9 will be selected to compete against the reigning Chutney Soca Monarch, K.I. Prasad, at the final on February 11th at Skinner Park, San Fernando. The 33 semi-finalists are Shivan R. and Slammer, Cutter, Rewati Ramput, Jason Peru, Hiralal Rampata, Vishan Mohammed, Anthony Batson, Amit Suknanan, O'Neill Bajman, Vikash Sahadeo, Michael Ramrup, Xavier Puche, Jesh Ramnanan, Hemlata Dindial, Rishma Ramlal, Drupati Prasad, Asha Kamachi, Jadel, Robin Jagdip, Imran Bihari, Aaron Duncan, Nishad Meru, Lal Chan Babwa, Nival Basamba, Adish Samaru, Ravi B, Orlando Octave, Rick Ramuta, Salim Bihari, Ricky Jai, Rupal G, Umadat Maharaj, Aaron Jiwan Singh, Sally Sagram, reigning champion K.I. Prasad will make a special guest appearance at the semi-final on the 28th of January. Now, the show will be held on Saturday, 28th January at the Live Nightlife, South Trunk Road, Gulfview, Lara, Maine. And there's a call for some clarification on the sampling of music in the Chutney Soca Monarch competition. Last week, veteran Chutney artists raised the issue, noting that it puts original singers at a disadvantage. On Sunday, the National Chutney Foundation said it had no legal authority to interfere in a private Chutney event. However, if state funding is involved, it then becomes public and it can intervene. It said, quote, when and if there is an infringement of the art form via any blatant or illegal breach of the intellectual property rights, giving a false projection of the art form, government can be accused of supporting such immorality. And the Trinidad and Tobago Copyright Collection Organization said it has received a number of calls from persons seeking clarification on the issue of sampling. It said it is a grave breach of intellectual property rights, which is tantamount to parroting of music, rhythms, melodies, and lyrics if proper legal approval is not given. The TTCO is advising all affected artists to contact its CEO, Richard Cornwall. Staying with Carnival news, Sasha Ann Moses is this year's Star of Tomorrow Calypso competition winner. Moses topped the 15 competitors in Saturday's competition with her song entitled The Main Witness. The song touches on the challenges in the justice system and the violence within Trinidad and Tobago.
I looked through my window, what did I see? I saw a murder. I saw a murder. Like the shooter trigger happy. I saw a murder. I saw a murder. In broad day.
To some other news now, Uber is finally here in Trinidad, which means a much more safer and reliable mode of transport for the traveling public, especially during this carnival season. Now, for those who may not know what Uber is, well, it's an online transportation network company, and it works simply by downloading the Uber app on your smartphone, and at the touch of a button, UberX connects you with local transportation providers at reasonable prices. For now, Uber Trinidad will be operating within the Port of Spain and San Fernando regions, and Uber has selected award-winning mega soca star Marshall Montano to kick off the first Uber ride in the Caribbean ever. The minimum fare for an Uber ride starts at $20. The Trinidad and Tobago Women's Cricket Board launched its 2017 season on Sunday. Nasira Mohammed was there and she files this report.
The Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board Women's League kicked off today, and a lot of these young women are hoping to make it onto the senior team, which will participate in the regional women's tournament in April in St. Vincent, and eventually onto the West Indies women's team, which will participate in the Cricket World Cup later on this year. According to the Vice President of the TNT Women's Cricket Association, these are exciting times for women's cricket, not only in the region, but the world, and they are looking forward to build on the Windies' successes of 2016.
You know, we feel that women's cricket is in the right place. I think that the victory of the T20 team, really was great for women's cricket. Girls got interested in women's cricket. And, just this morning before I left home, I was looking on the television. They brought a Big Bash game. That's, Stephanie Taylor had an excellent inning in that game. And I'm saying we are where we would like to be at this time, and we hope to continue to build.
Last year, TNT won all 3 regional titles up for grabs. The senior women's 50 overs and T20 titles, along with the under-19 title. Brown John is hoping the domestic season will better prepare the veterans and provide a new crop of players to defend these 3 titles.
I think that was a big boost for women's cricket, and we are hoping to be able to repeat for this year. So that's why we have started this early. This is one of the earliest we have started in many years. We normally start at the end of January, but because of the regional tournament being a lot earlier this year, it starts on the 16th of April. We decided to start our competitions early, that all our players, our national players, everybody can have a chance to play before they have to go off to the other tournaments.
One national player, Karishma Ramharak, is hoping the senior national team capitalizes on the early preparations they've started.
Well, we have been training. We have a camp in set. We have a lot of young players in the mix. So mainly we're working on fitness again. St. Vincent is a hot place, and fitness is key.
Reporting for C Sports, I am Nasira Mohammed.
Central FC's defense of their TNT Pro League title took a serious dent on Saturday when they lost 2-0 to Mapao Stars at Arima. Samoa Jablate were also in winners' row with a 3-1 win over Police at Barataria. Nasira Mohammed again, she has the highlights.
For the second time in as many matches, Central FC was unable to defeat Mapao Stars, who is now under the charge of 2-time winning coach Ross Russell, formerly of the Defence Force, and it seems to be paying dividends. Fans had to sit through more than an hour of play without a goal, until Hayden Tinto put Mapao on the score sheet. Shane Sandy provided a sneaky cross which Tinto picked up and blasted a low bullet past Central keeper John Michael Williams. 1-0 Mapao. With Central still trailing by a goal down, defender Kevin Villarreal did the unthinkable and slammed into Gerald Brito. The referee was having none of Villarreal's behavior and pointed Brito to the penalty spot. Brito made no mistake, slotting it home to make it 2-0 Mapao and his 7th goal of the season, and ending Central FC's unbeaten run in the Digital Pro League this season. Meanwhile, over in Barataria, Nathan Lewis gave Jablate an early lead in the 11th minute, but Police kept pressing and were finally rewarded with an equalizer from Jamil Perry in the 32nd minute. But Jamal Gray struck twice in the second half, first in the 53rd minute and then in the 64th, to give Jablate full points. The San Juan team now sits in 3rd place on 26 points, behind Central FC in 2nd with 32 points, and new leaders W Connection on 34 points. Nasira Mohammed, C Sports.